welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. For those that have been using Spotify for Podcasters, you're going to notice in the next few days, weeks, months, that your Spotify for Podcaster recording options are going bye-bye. They're going away. And Spotify for Podcasters is pointing us in the direction of Riverside. Now, with that change, Riverside is a great platform. It's really cool. You can do all your recording. You can record guests, or you can record your own podcast solo episodes right there on the Riverside platform. I used Riverside for a period of time. They've got some great new tools that are new to the platform that I haven't tried yet. But that's where Spotify for Podcasters at this current time is redirecting you to Riverside as a recording tool for your podcast. If you have questions about this change and you want to go over options, or you've never used Riverside and you're like, Dave, what the heck is this? Reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca. As an active Spotify for Podcaster user, I've already been going through the process of transforming and changing now that Spotify is taking away our options of recording right on their platform using their editing tools. And so I'm glad to help you with that. A big thing that's going to change for you if you've been using Spotify for Podcasters, formerly known as Anchor, to record your podcast is you used to have access to this very rich library of music, some amazing songs. And if you're anything like me, you've actually built your podcast around the music that was available to you through Spotify for Podcasters when you originally set up your show. Dad Space, for example, the music I use on my Dad Space podcast, the podcast for Dads by Dads over at dadspace.ca. If you know a dad or are a dad or will become a dad or your neighbor's a dad, whatever, it's a podcast for you over at dadspace.ca. Come listen. Come over here. It's another podcast that I do, and I've been using the music from Spotify for Podcasters on Dad Space. And now that music is gone. That music option is not available to me as I'm now redirected to Riverside. Riverside doesn't have the music tracks that Spotify for Podcaster had. So now I'm stuck. Like, where do I get my music to go forward into the future with my show? And I want to make sure that I'm using music that I'm legally allowed to use. Now, when I was on Spotify for Podcasters and the music was there, it was covered by our terms of use for Spotify. Now that Spotify for Podcasters doesn't give me that option of using the music, I want to make sure that the music I'm using in my show going forward, now with this change happening, that I want to make sure that the music that I'm using is licensed. I don't want to just assume that because I've used the track in the future that I can use the track, in the past that I can use it in the future. I want to make sure that I'm giving credit to the musicians that created the music and doing it all legally. So if that's you and you've been using music on Spotify for Podcasters and you think you can use music in the future, no. Make sure you're using it as a paid license for you to use the music properly. So here's the music that I use for Dad Space as an example. So over on Dad Space, you'd hear me like, hi everybody, this is Dad Space, the podcast for Dads by Dads. My name is Dave. Welcome to the show. This is the theme of my show. This is everything for me. And I want to make sure that I can keep using this amazing music. So I went on a search and I was having a hard time figuring out where this music came from. Spotify for Podcasters not so good at talking and sharing these things with you as a user. So I did some research, and then I got an email from Galen over at Blue Dot Sessions. And I was like so happy. You might have seen this email as well, maybe in your inbox. And you're like, who is this? So Galen is the director of Blue Dot Sessions. It's an acoustic studio based in Western Massachusetts. And they compose music, especially for podcasts and the audio world, with a hosted library over 10,000 original tracks, multitracks, and stem files, which I'll explain in a second. And they write music for NPR, This American Life, New York Times, and they were the host and the provider of the music library that was in Spotify for Podcasters and Anchor. So in the email, Galen's saying, if you're looking for music for the How to Podcast series, is email to me, or any of the projects, we have a simple blanket licensing option that would cover your work forever with unlimited tracks from our library. And their web app, which is sessions.blue, is the address. Link in the show notes. You know how I do things. It's all about fast, intuitive music discovery. Plus, you can fine-tune each track right in your browser using their multitrack editor. And he says it's a creative playground that helps creators quickly align tracks with their vision. You can actually, which we'll get into, I'll got an example for you. We can actually get into the multitrack editor and play with the tracks, move stuff around and experiment. You're not stuck with just a finished recording that you can't manipulate. You can actually use their multitrack editor and play with the tracks. This is fun, everyone. You got to try it. And we have a link for you to go try it right on their website. They have a track that you can demo and play around with for free just to see how it works. It's a lot of fun. I want you to go try it. Even if you're not like super into audio editing, this is what I do as a musician. I love editing music, and I'm having a great time playing with this website. Again, links in the show notes. So from Blue Dot Sessions, they said they recently created a more affordable subscription plan for independent creators, podcasters, and he wanted to reach out to people like us to tell us about his service and his website. So even if you only need a few tracks for your podcast, the library is mixed and mastered specifically to work alongside narration and the human voice, and they're constantly collaborating with audio producers. So he reached out, and I'm so glad that Galen did. And I reached back out and said, hey, Galen, this is amazing because I've been looking for you guys with all the changes happening at Spotify for podcasters. And I said, I would love to have you guys come on the show. And Galen's so kind. He's like, well, we're really busy, but thank you. So again, Galen and the team over there, the door's open. Love to have you come on anytime to talk more about what you do. Thank you. But what they did offer kindly to you, I did ask. I put the ask out there and said, for us that are transitioning over to your site from Spotify for podcasters, is there any incentive we can share with the audience? And they came back with a code, how to pod, HOWTOPOD, how to pod, as a discount code that you can use today when you sign up with your subscription. So that's there for you. 20% off, everybody. 20% off for you. You're welcome, because Galen and the team there are so amazing. So head over to the notes anytime during the podcast. Go to the website. Go play around. Go listen to the songs that are there. If you've never been a creator on Spotify for podcasters and you wondered where these music was coming from and all these other shows, go play there. If you're looking for music for your show, go check them out and use the discount code, please. That's there for you. I asked, Galen and his team said, oh yeah, we would love to give a discount code to your audience. How to pod, HOWTOPOD, will save you 20% on Blue Dot Sessions. Okay, please go try it. Go play. It's so much fun. Okay, so that's all in the show notes. So they're a great team, and one of the team members there has the same name, slightly different spelling as my daughter, which made me happy. So that's cool because it's a unique and creative name, and that team member knows who they are. So hi from Dave here. It's so cool to meet somebody with same name as my daughter. That's 1 in a million. That's so cool. So when you go to Blue Dot Sessions, go to their website and you can check it all out. It's sessions.blue is the website. And you get to play with the multi-track recorder. So I did, and I tried out a track, and I was playing around with it just to give you an idea. And this is what it sounds like when you get to move the tracks around a little bit. It's really, really cool. So here's a little clip of it. just so you can get a sense of what the track sounds like. I know you can't see this, but you can hear me playing with it, and I kind of explain what I'm doing as I do it. So here we go. So I'm on the home page for sessions.blue, and right in the middle of the screen, you'll see some images and things, and it says Integrated Stem Editor. It says there's a button, click that button, it says Demo the Editor Now. This is all free to do. This doesn't cost any money to play here, everybody. At the top of the page, it does say Explore the Library, and then you can go through and start listening to these amazing songs. Awesome. But again, more in the middle of the screen, you'll see a bunch of images of artists, musicians playing, and there it is right there. Demo the Editor Now. So it gives you the chance to do one song that they give to you, and you get to play around with the song and try it out. It kind of just gives you random ones as you come in. So here's me playing with this one. This is called Homin, Hominbrer. Okay, there you go. So that's cool. So this is the track and me playing with it. Ready? Here we go. Okay, so here I am playing with this track. I'm going to jump in here and hit play on the track. And I'm going to just play around with the volume settings and everything for each of the different stems. Now, a stem is basically an isolated track. So here I have 2 electric guitars. Each of them has their own track. I have piano, viola, 2 viola tracks, a synth, a drum kit, and electric bass. Okay, so I can jump around. And the nice thing is I can actually reorganize everything. I can move tracks left and right so they come in at different times. I can delete things if I don't want something. I can increase or decrease volume. There's special effects. There's all kinds of tools. And what you're looking at on the screen, as I'm looking at this track, is everything's color-coded. I can see the waveforms, which are the peaks and valleys for the audio. So I can see where it gets big and gets low and gets quiet. So I can see everything on my screen. And you can play with this right on the website. So I encourage you to go try this and just play around and see what I'm seeing on the track that they offer up to you. So here we go. I'm going to hit play on the actual song, and then I'm just going to start playing with some of the settings. Okay? So here we go. So that's piano, electric guitar. It's pretty cool, right? Now we're going to get more tracks coming in right here. Okay, so there's multiple tracks going on in this moment. So what I can do is I can take things down . I can just make a piano. I can take out all the violas. So now I just have piano. Here comes the drums in now. Now I got the drums, bass. But what if I want to take the piano back down? Right? So there's a little bit in the background, but you can hear it now. It's just drums and bass. Isn't that cool? So I can bring back the piano. Or I can bring the guitar in. Isn't that cool? Back to the piano again. This is so cool. And I can play with the volume levels for each of the tracks. And then as well, I can actually grab a track and move it to a different location in the song so it plays at a different place. Isn't that cool? So you get to play with all these different things. So the bass is back out now in the song. I can see on my screen there's no bass track. It's silent. It's going to come back in a little bit. This is so much fun, right? I can play with all these different things. So now the viola is going to come in here in a second with the drum kit right here. So bring up the viola. So cool. Now the song's going to end off here. It's going to fade out with all the different instruments as we leave the song. See that? Now that's kind of cool. I got to tell you, I haven't seen this on a lot of other tools for creating music. And this is quite fun. For someone like me who loves to mix music, I just want you to go play with it. Even if you don't decide to go with Blue Dot Sessions right now, go play with that editor and see what I'm seeing and play around with it. It's so much fun and it's free to try. Please go try it out over at the website and the link in the show notes. I would love for you to try it out. So that was the editor. Such a cool tool. Again, you can play with that for free right on the website, which is awesome. So definitely go check it out at sessions.blue is the website. Go over there and play with it. And when you're ready to buy a subscription to Blue Dot Sessions, please use the code in the show notes. HowToPod, 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 which will save you 20% on your subscription. You're welcome. And it's not, I asked if there was something like an affiliate program or something that we could do to put out to the community to save them money as we transition from Spotify for podcasters to paying for a blanket license for our podcast. And they came back very graciously, very kindly, provided 20% off for you if you use the code. If you don't use the code, you're going to pay full price. So why would you do that? Please use the code HowToPod when you go to your checkout part. So when you click on subscribe on the website to get in and subscribe to having a monthly subscription to Blue Dot Sessions, you can go through and we'll pull up a screen. And at the top, there'll be a drop-down menu that says you're a podcaster or you're a web video. So if you click on podcast, which we're talking to, there's 4 options. There's a creator option on my screen at the time of recording. This may change in the future. The names may change and details may change. But on the left-hand side for me, it says creator exclusive offer for indie podcasters. You and me, okay? We are not in some big corporation and have a team of 20, right? In a big, huge budget, making tons and tons of money with our podcasts. It's just indie podcasters like you and I. The option on the far left would be for you, the creator option. There's a basic option, a standard option, and professional option. At the point of time of recording, go through, check them out. You can see the licenses and everything on these. It gives you the opportunity right here to add in your payment details. And for me, at the time of recording, the creator account was about $12 roughly. And when you use the code HowToPod in the show notes, it takes it down to $9.60 a month, which is very reasonable to have access to the tools and the music here. Again, you want to pay for the music that you use. And because Dad Space has a certain sound, I want to pay for that song and honor the people who created the music. $9.60 a month seems really, really cheap as a musician. For the amount of amazing music that you're getting, that's a steal, everybody. Please. On the right-hand side of the screen, it's asking you for the project details. So the name of the podcast, a website, a URL. So I give it to my Dad Space URL, so all my information's there, and a description of what this is for. Dad, I put in Dad Space, weekly podcast for dads by dads. So I see everything here, and as I look at it, what's included with my $12 a month, discounted to $9.60 a month with the discount code HowToPod, is it's included the unlimited tracks, multitrack, and variations with no reporting or paperwork, which will come with Creative Commons. Creative Commons does not include the option to edit the stems, moving around the tracks. Nope. So there's no reporting, no paperwork involved by having your license because it's covered by the information you're providing. Access to the teams and collaborative tools included in Blue Dot Sessions as well. You get to go under the hood on any track instantly with integrated multitrack editor. So that's what's included. And then about the studio as well, Blue Dot Sessions is constantly writing and recording new work at their studio. And they work in collaboration with journalists, producers, and audio industry to create a unique library of acoustic and minimalist music. Great for podcasting, everybody. So don't pick the same stuff everybody else is using. Use this. It's a great tool, okay? Blue Dot Sessions. Links in the show notes. Make sure you go and check it out. Use the code HOWTOPOD, HOWTOPOD, so that you can save 20%. Okay, I've already signed up. Now my music for Dad Space is covered into the future, and I'm going to keep with this company because I love that track for my Dad Space podcast. Okay, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can reach out to them directly. There's a contact button. Ask them questions. Speak to them. They're a great team, super nice to work with, and you can definitely get lots of help from them. If you have any questions about transferring from Spotify for podcasters to Blue Dot Sessions from a podcaster point of view, I'd love to help you. That's what I do, and that's what I'm doing. So I'd love to be there for you as a resource. So as we go out, here's a little bit more of my Dad Space music, but thank you so much for being part of the podcast. If you have any questions at all, howtopodcast.ca is the website. I would love to be with you and help you through all of the steps. And as well, please go visit our new friends over at sessions.blue. Great music, great editor tool that you get to play with for free. And I'd love to hear your feedback. And for the team there over at Blue Dot Sessions, love to have you come on in the future. Thank you for all your support for podcasters and creating something just for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone, go out there and record your next episode and make sure you pay for your music, people. Don't steal music from great artists. Pay for the music you use, and thank you for listening to the How to Podcast series. Take care. Hey, thanks for being here on the How to Podcast series. Glad to have you on the show with us, listening in, and hope they're finding value in the podcast. I hope you're finding something that helps you with your show, helps you with the tools and the information from these amazing guest co-hosts through our daily Daves and these solo episodes. The variety of what we're doing here on the podcast is all designed for you so that you can get the tools you need to create your podcast and keep going with your show. That's why we're here. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm glad you're here finding value in this. If you would like to do a little bit more than just be a listener, if you want to do community with podcasters, we have a thing called our Meetup on meetup.com. You can come find us, and there'll be a link on our website at howtopodcast.ca, and you can come and join in on our Meetup. Instead of just being a listener, you could actually participate and come in and join other podcasters, just like you, at your stage, at your level, where you're at right now. And then other podcasters who are maybe a little further down the road, who can learn from you and you can learn from them. And we host these meetups on a regular basis. Again, go to howtopodcast.ca and you'll find all the information there. We'd love for you to come join us at our next meetup. The only thing we need at our next meetup is you. You're the only thing missing from all of this. So consider joining our meetups. Again, they're totally free on a regular basis, all through howtopodcast.ca. And I'd love to hear more from you about your podcast as well. There's a SpeakPipe link on howtopodcast.ca. Leave a message. I'd love to hear about you and your show and how we can work together to get your message into the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for sharing the show with another podcaster that you're like, hey, I think you'd really like this episode. Go ahead, share the episode, and let's get more podcasters on the mic. Thanks for listening.